There you go. Can you see
my hair? Have I arrived?
Yeah.
You arrived.
Awesome.
You're in the sun.
So
I am the
everybody,
floating sun.
Yep.
welcome Mary Jane Daniel to our show.
Hello, hello.
Welcome. Good to see you.
Can everybody hear correctly?
Hopefully my audio loud enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you want, you can turn it up a smidge if you can.
How about that?
That sounds good, yeah.
Sounds really good.
Okay.
Dalton Fagan, that's my bestie. We brought some friends. Yay, good for you, buddy. So I have to say, man, we had this little discussion like a few days ago, and I thought it went really well. You know, the thing I had a certain image in my mind of what you were like, you know, because based on the videos, and then when we were talking, it completely went away, completely 180, because I discovered basically that you're a pretty serious guy, like, you know.
Well, I mean, like half and half, I'd say.
Yeah, he's got a great sense.
Serious and not serious. Like, I know how to make light of things, but I know how to like get down and be serious about things when I need to, I'd say.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, it's like I just had that. It's an impression thing. So, I think we should maybe start out by having you. Could you move her to the left or the right a little bit?
Move like this.
There. Yeah, because it wasn't centered right. There you go. Oh, look at that! You're perfectly in the sun now. Awesome.
Is Pikachu in the sun too in the background?
Pardon?
My Pikachu in the background.
Is your Pikachu in the background? Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if it sees in the star. Yeah, it is there. Yeah, awesome, man. I just you just released an EP. I thought maybe if you'd want to talk about that for a little while.
That's my debut album that I've been working on for the past 2 months, pretty much noon to midnight every day, just grinding on writing. I really go for like the true definition of a solo artist, doing all the writing, recording, production. I even did the art. I did all the promotion and everything. So it's just me start to finish.
And so obviously, you know, all the music is produced and played by you as well. So yeah, I purchased that. It's available on.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So available on the Google Play Store,
iTunes,
Spotify,
everywhere, YouTube,
all the usual places. Here in Canada, it was like $6. So, but I think in the States, it's like $4.99 or $5. I don't know, whatever it is. So, but you know,
I guess because like the whatever you call it,
the exchange rate.
Exchange rate, yeah.
Yeah, we got hosed on everything. So, welcome to the show. What else was I going to say? What else was I going to talk about? I am just stuck like a fan struck deer.
One thing that I did want to talk about that you guys were talking about right before I came on was everything with the struggling with the demonetization recently, and all the how the YouTube algorithms can really screw certain kinds of creators over if you're not like doing like the same thing like at least once a week, being like super consistent, not really focusing so much on like improving your quality as just putting things out like over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, being like an absolute like perfectionist, it's not a system that works in my favor whatsoever, because I'm always constantly trying to improve and get better and just make the best thing I can, and I'm working with a system that really just favors people doing the same thing at the same quality
over quality.
Yeah, seems.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. I mean, that's I think one of the things that I've always found. You know, I'm kind of an inspired. If I get inspired to do something, and if there's no pressure, no stress, then I do very well. But as soon as that you put a deadline on me, you put the pressure to produce on me, I just sort of fight against that, and I find it very difficult to maintain my desire even to be a contributor. So
it's a system that I feel like it stifles people's creativity.
I think so too.
I agree. You know, and I think part of that is because we let it. We fall into that trap that we believe that what we're being told is the truth, and I've just slowly come to the conclusion that we have to deny that. We have to fight against that. And I mean, isn't it our jobs as artists to really, question the status quo, question what the demands are that are put on us? I mean, if we really want to put out the best thing that we can possibly do, then it's incumbent on us to do it the way we want to do it. And if the options are that they say, hey, you can't produce here anymore, or we're going to take this away from you, then we have to fight that as well. And this has been sort of like, the conclusion that I've come to, that I'm not going to let them push me around. Like, forget it. So I haven't changed my channel, particularly at all. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've had to sort of really ramp up with, which is, the social media and the creation of, the T-shirts, my website and stuff, which, I would have puttered around more lackadaisically, but and it's sort of been a burnout across in a number of different directions, but that has set me up now, hopefully for the future to do things a bit more on my own pace.
It's not just something that's limited to like the video content creator community either. It's something that's very much like present in like the music industry too, where like everyone's afraid to like push a boundary or do something new because they just want to do what they know will sell and already has a market. Like,
don't you find though, but that if you're producing your own stuff and you're finding, that's part of the process too, is finding your own audience, and but doesn't that like, I don't know, doesn't that give you more opportunity to do it your way because the way things have changed? I mean, you're not signed to a label anymore. In a way, you are your own label now, right?
Record labels are something that are becoming more and more like unnecessary for artists to really get themselves out there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I should just point out too, if Mr. Remy Muller is still here, that he does his own music work too, and he's actually selling tracks and stuff on Google Play and the different, like SoundCloud, I think, and different outlets. So it's like that's more and more, I think, the reality, and I think it's just taken a while for people who are just doing YouTubing, to sort of catch up to that kind of mindset, that we are. Oh my God! No, we're not worthy. Nines Catudio gave us a $20 thing. Drinks on me, just stopping by for a couple of tequila shots on a mini getaway. Have all the fun. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much. Nines Catudio is one of our. Well, she's basically sort of an inspiration, as well as sort of steal a term from you, MARYJANEDANIEL, that she had a suggestion for doing the cats, and I stuffed her cats in the spacesuits, and that's part of the show now. Oh, and actually going back to Mr. Remy Moore, he does the intro music for us. I've used his intro music for I think almost every video since he produced that for me. So I'd just like to change tack, if you don't mind, and maybe let's talk about a bit more, get back to some of this bit more serious stuff. And I just want first, before we do that though, I do want to acknowledge that I think that this is something that we should keep in mind, this how to engage and nourish our creativity, and sort of question those who claim to nourish it. So just to leave it at that note, eh? But moving on, I was thinking, when we were discussing the other day, we were doing our little technical, tryout thing, that, you've come from a, sort of an experience of being bullied in different classrooms or different schools and stuff. And I think I shared that I had a similar kind of thing. And do you have any thoughts on that matter? Like, is that something that, well, now that you're reached adulthood, praise be, that is this something you can reflect back on and that helped you survive those dark days?
Well, I remember one thing we talked about in our earlier conversation was how every year growing up, because my mom was in the military, I went to a different state, went to a different school, and that kind of forced me to learn how to always be able to interact with new people and like come out of my shell a little bit more. And I think that very much carried over now to like my charisma, or just my outgoingness and willingness to be vulnerable and everything like that.
Well, that's actually that you mentioned that. That was something that struck me about you too. Is like the fact that you had this, when you're doing the gaming videos and talking about the people that inspired you and stuff, and you had this on the one end, this kind of self confidence and that, but you also sort of had this, as I said, vulnerability. But then when I told you about it, you said, "Hey, I know that." It's very endearing, and then it's like,
"Yep, you're right."
It's like, wait, you're not supposed to be. You're not even supposed to know that you're vulnerable. But I think it's.
Since when?
I mean, it keeps my ego in check, so I think.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of, I think that's kind of a cool thing, Well, not the fact that you know it, but that you have it and that you keep it, Like a lot of people try and suppress that aspect of themselves, and
it's true. You see a lot of that.
You do see.
People are, they don't ever admit to,
having it.
Well, just not being less than perfect or something like that. Right. Or less than confident.
Yeah, too many people try to fit the ideal image, the commercial image.
Oh, Remy Moore had a good question. Switching subjects. Yeah, you don't mind we just go back and forth.
That's fine.
Yeah, we do popcorn style stuff, really. Remy Moore asked, so what is your music style? Who would you say influenced you the most?
A lot of the MySpace era, metal and rock bands, and then also some of the older stuff like Marilyn Manson and Rammstein, with the kind of mix of electronic music and rock music.
Oh, okay. I like Marilyn Manson's Pale Emperor album. That was kind of, I thought he sort of broke through into something different for him.
Excuse me.
He's getting old now.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Well, I actually just sort of you give kind of a hint too of your style and your influences in the genre that you've chosen for it for your EP, and that was dance metal, right?
Mm-hmm. And well, that's just not just my EP. That's just in general what I'm going for as an artist is the combination of dance music and heavy metal music. And
it works, actually, surprisingly.
It does.
It actually kind of works. It's so bizarre.
It very much works. What? Yeah, well, it very much works. Yeah. You can dance to it.
Well, I found that the best motivation I can have as a musician to make music is making a kind of music that doesn't really exist, that no one, hardly anybody else is really doing, because then I know that if I wasn't here doing it, it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't exist. No one else would be doing it.
Could I ask you if you've had any professional training in regards to music, or are you self-taught?
I'm entirely self-taught and everything. I took some music theory classes in high school, but that was after I had already learned a lot, so I kind of just
breezed through.
Took those as an easy A. Did my homework for the other classes in that class.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, actually, I sort of asked that because I know Remy Moore is self-taught as well, and his influence is more in this sort of synthesizer stuff. Oh, and then we have another musician, Wonder Music. We are the.
Oh yes.
Wonder Music. Nice to see you. Oh, and another one. Free music for you with Miss. Mary Moore says, mine is like a combination of styles, trip hop, breakbeat, and punk. So I get that. So yeah, and I think I'm an old guy. Obviously, I'm 56, and you're 23. I think you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my influences, I sort of came of age just as the punk era was starting to fade out. So, that whole breaking of molds thing is something that I'm, quite aware of, as well as, that was the whole synth pop era, the new wave era, where, the glam rock, stadium rock was kind of starting to, show its age there for a while. Mm-hmm. So. Remy Moore says, I'm older. My influences are Massive Attack and Prodigy. So, yeah, it's a.
What?
I don't know. I just ran out of things to say.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what you're doing and seeing your hands going.
Well, I
there.
feel like I'm talking
what?
too much. I really think I'd like to, have Mary Jane. MJ say something or start a subject.
Well, one of the I really think fusion genres, combining two or more different genres of music to create something new. I really think that's the future of music, because it's really what pushes all the other genres forward and evolves music in general, is just combining these different things that you wouldn't normally hear in one genre, like and putting them in another genre.
Yeah, and if they fit, they fit, you know, and it's like it's that sort of the what do I, you know, we also, we were talking about the influences that we have, and, you know, yeah, and Ray Moore just says yes, you know, and that's exactly it. You know, it's like people that define themselves purely as metal or purely as punk or purely as pop. You know, I mean, there are different influences, you know, and that invade. You know, like rock and roll was started from, you know, the roots of rhythm and blues. So
Sure.
that was, you know, took some of those aspects, and I think that's just a natural. I don't want to say the word just, that's wrong, but it is a natural progression that the people, artists discover new ways to combine genres and create something new.
Because every genre has its elitists, you know, people who are like way too like traditionalist with what that genre of music is supposed to be, and if you do anything outside of the ordinary for that genre, then it's uncool or it's just like lame to them or whatever. And that's really something that everyone like me who does a fusion genre is really trying to fight against, is that elitism.
Well, I think you'll be successful. You've got some good music there.
And thank you.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Muse says, why should we have any rules? And Remy Morris continues, it's finding that new sound that makes you different. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I think he was reacting to you, yeah, exactly. Another way to stifle creativity.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and that's it. And you know, even if it doesn't work, you know, and I think that's part of the thing that we tend to gloss over, is that, you know, creativity is largely a story of failure. You know, lots of things just don't work, and it's by working through those things that don't work that we reach the stuff that does. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's not just in the fields of. Well,
I don't remember who it was. I think it was like Einstein and Benjamin Franklin, who was like, I didn't fail 99 times and succeed once. I found 99 ways that didn't work.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and that's
true.
it's probably Einstein. No, Edison. Probably.
Edison, is it Thomas Edison?
oh, okay.
I think so. I think because he did all those different light bulb things, you know, all the different things for the light bulbs. I think that sounds like something that he would have said.
Oh, the filaments and stuff.
The filaments, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just gonna say hello to a couple of people that arrived. Scrumptious Model Trains. Hi, nice to see you again, buddy. Druz, what do you think about uploading a few songs to the YouTube audio library? Is that difficult to do? I think what YouTube has they do contracts with people who to be a part of that, and I think the individual artists, if you contact them and ask them to use use a track and get a license from them, I mean a lot of people are very obliging when it comes to that. I mean, I have a license. A verbal license from Remy Moore to use his, what I have used of his. So, and there's other YouTubers who actually do this as a thing, you know, where they create music in for the Creative Commons licenses, and I get a lot of my stuff through SoundCloud and that sort of thing. So, I'm not sure what the ultimate utility would be of uploading it to, the YouTube audio library, outside of the fact that it's a central repository, and what's the artist really getting out of it? I don't know.
I don't know who asked that, but were they wondering about uploading their own music to the library, or getting someone else's music to use?
Well, I think it's sort of an open-ended question in that, like, how it's more of like a how do you do it? How would you do it? And I think it's something that you'd have to contact, YouTube to see, if that's something that they'd be interested in having you do. I think anyway.
Well, if any smaller artist, if they're not like copyrighted, all you have to do is just ask their permission to use their music in your video.
Yeah, that's to take it down. But he's saying to upload it, to actually add it to the library.
To put your own music into the library.
Yeah. So, they get nothing. That's Wonder Music says that, almost.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah, subscribers and getting to be known, I suppose, but I think the same thing would apply to SoundCloud or any other venue, and the thing is, like, I think I like the fact that the music at the YouTube audio library is limited, because this way it sort of forces you to go out there and explore things, and then discover potential artists that you might like, so. Oh, and Dalton Fagan said it was Edison and his light bulbs, so that feeling I had there was correct.
Oh, good to have that confirmed.
Oh, Dragazian says, I subscribe to my favorite ones. I didn't know you even could subscribe to them.
Oh, okay.
I just thought they were just generic.
But the audio library?
Yeah, I
I
honestly
didn't know that they had their own channels in there either myself.
I'll have to check that out, I guess.
okay.
Well, thanks for the tip, Dragos. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
Being a musician, I don't really have a need to often really use music from the library.
Exactly.
I just make my own music.
You just do your own. Computer says, I think they're doing a promotion with that channel. They already have a recording studio of their own, which makes millions. Ah, I see. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Pretty neat. Wow.
So how many people did you tell to give the link to, MJ?
I sent it to everyone that I talk to regularly, and I posted it over my Facebook and stuff.
That's cool. I have to say, I really appreciate you coming and doing the show. It's kind of exciting for me, because you're outside of our normal sort of community, I guess, kind of thing. So, which is kind of gratifying. And I've been, it's like trying to think of who else I'd like to have on the show, and you were certainly up there. So I was, it was like I asked you, and I asked a couple of people who had like 100,000 subscribers and stuff, but they never replied back.
Yeah, of course,
of course.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So what are your plans with the channel going forward? You're just going to use that as an outlet for marketing your music?
Yeah, basically it's just one of many platforms for my music. With YouTube specifically, I'm really focusing on covers and like single instrument covers as well. Like I do a lot of guitar covers and guitar covers and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. They're pretty good. How do you play your instrument and you've got your head going around, like you can see your hair flipping around? It's like I'd get dizzy if I did that.
Maybe I've just been doing it long enough that I'm immune to the dizziness from headbanging.
All right.
I think you mentioned you were going to do another gaming channel possibly down the road, eh?
I definitely want to. It's definitely something I've always wanted to do, and something I've just kind of had to like set aside to really get myself established here with my music. But once I'm at the point where I can like have maybe a team help me like produce my music and covers and videos and stuff, that I can actually have some free time to pursue my other aspirations like gaming and stuff like that.
Do you have a link for the Play Store, or I guess it would be on your channel? Oh, speaking of your channel, let me show everybody your channel. So I'm just gonna go away for a second while I get your web page up here. Let me just call that up, just so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to some of the music here. It's great.
Well, I'm not gonna play any. I'm not gonna play.
Oh no, but I mean like. Go to the channel.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Oh yeah. No, I just don't want to impose. I think people should discover stuff.
Well, I'm not saying us play it. I'm saying, check it out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
His music's wonderful.
So yeah, this is his channel. I mean, he's changed the content and
works for me.
How long have you been a YouTuber? I don't think I remember to check actually. So
how long I've been doing?
2013. So about 5 years.
Well, that's when I like started made my account. I didn't actually start like uploading anything until like late 2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's still low. Well, 27,000 views.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So hopefully this, you being a guest on our show. And the Play Store thing is over here. How did I find? Oh yeah, I think I just Googled you on the Play Store.
Yeah, you can just type MARYJANEDANIEL into anything.
And you showed up, and that was it. So I'm afraid to do that now in case everybody sees what I've purchased, all the crappy stuff that I own. So I'm just gonna call ourselves back here. There we go, and transition, and then we're back. So yeah, cool. What are we doing for time? Oh, we got about 15 minutes left. Do you want to stick through the hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
I'll open up to chat. Wow, we have 12 people there, I think. So if anybody has any questions for our guest star, please feel free to.
You flatter me.
Let's see. Click the name of my Dragos. Thanks for the info. Yeah, definitely. Wonder Music says it's training to go to the International Space Station. You can't get.
Join the Space Force.
Oh, is this to do with the get dizzy with the with?
Oh right, yeah. With
he swings his hair around. I don't know.
It's my training to join the Space Force.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm going to. It's kind of. Are you having a good time? I'm having a good time.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, me too.
Did you want to talk about some of your other challenges, or did you want to leave that?
I mean, if there's something specific you want to inquire about, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, I think sometimes we put too much out there, and when we were having our conversation, I said, I've been having some issues with trolls, and that sort of, a number of people have had issues or problems like that, and I'm certainly not alone in that regard. But what about you? Have you noticed any trolling behavior on YouTube?
I've had not on YouTube, but because YouTube isn't primarily my main platform, whereas my official Facebook pages, which is I've had a lot more growth on. That since that's gotten bigger, I've had a bit more negativity come in on that. But a lot of it is not in English, so it doesn't really.
Not English. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Sorry, I find that funny.
So how do you know they're trolling you if it's not in
Automatic
English?
translate, which I don't even know how accurate that is, but.
Yeah. Insults are transnational, no matter what.
Okay.
But I've seen people comment, poor K, sad face, enough times to no one struggling.
Okay.
Let's see. Computer said your live show notification just popped up. Yeah, it's funny, eh?
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Now? It just showed up now?
Mew, Mr. Mew. I'm just going to call you Mew because the rest of your name, it's just Mew, free music for your videos. That's too long. Mr. Mew said, MARYJANEDANIEL, I just took a listen. Great tracks, he said. So.
Thank you.
Great.
I appreciate listening.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Computer smiling. Scrumptious Model Train says, trolls are like rocks in the gears of a smooth running clock. You said it, my friend.
Well put.
And I think sometimes it's an indicator of success too, or where they see
they're jealous.
They're jealous,
I'd say they're only rocks if you really let them get to you. Otherwise, they're just like flies flying into the gears and getting squished because they don't want to keep their mind their own business.
Well, that's true. They're like gnats. It's like.
Yep.
And it's like they want to get noticed, I don't know. It's like you're doing it wrong. You don't get noticed by being hateful and ugly. I think you get more notice if you're helpful and supportive.
Well, I don't think people tend to gravitate to haters, do they?
Well,
at least I hope not.
I don't know. There's so much misery and people are propagated because you don't live up to the ideal or potential ideal of what they think is a normal person, and I find that just sort of bizarre.
I think everybody wants attention, and then when they, maybe they're not getting it themselves, and maybe they're dealing with some frustration, and they kind of project that onto the people who do get attention or find some success.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're only human. We're all human, and I think we all have the potential to be a troll for someone, in one way or another, and we just have to sort of accept that reality in some respects or in some way, and just hope we don't do it too often ourselves. I don't know.
I can't please everybody.
Yeah. Oh, my God, it's a good thing I was browsing on YouTube and I saw your live show as recommended. Yay!
Oh, excellent.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have known, eh? Yeah, I've just started doing this event thing, and you asked, MJ, you asked, if I had a permalink for it. So anytime that there's an event that establishes a permalink, and it would be on the channel page. So computer, anytime you're curious if I have, because I'm going to do it that way from now on, I'm just going to schedule it as an event. So just check my page, and if I have an event coming up, there will be the link there that you can,
And they can always hit the notification bell too, and they'll just get notified whenever you go live.
He hasn't, hit the notification bell, but sometimes it's quirky the way it works. Sometimes you don't get the notification for hours later, and that's been his complaint regularly. It's he gets in a different time zone almost, which is strange.
Well, I get sort of that too. I mean, you don't get notifications for a live stream until after it's over. What is that?
And I think it's because YouTube is behind. Depending if they don't change the time zone thing, daylight saving time, until 2 months later or something. There's some weird thing going on with how they have that working. It's
what
bizarre.
Universe do they live in? It's not the same one we're in.
Yeah.
That's really strange.
So how is your life going, MJ? Is it going well? Are you on a trajectory of?
It's up and down, but it's averaging out to a good up, I think.
Yeah, well, that's good, and I when I was your age, I was just heading into a really, downtime for I think a couple of decades. And I think with what we know, I'm always sort of disappointed that we allow I don't know, that things happen, that we have all this knowledge and we can't access it until it's too late sometimes, and to see a young man like yourself, I find that's so weird to say, sorry if that sounds weird, but it's weird. I'm old now. I made it. But I mean, to see a young man, who's obviously had some traumatic experiences in their background, to find some outlet, some expression that is positive and decent and good, I think that's a really great thing.
Yeah,
I think that something that a lot of people, especially around my age, struggle with is we kind of are pushed to compare our own lives and where we are with success to everyone else around us, and how much money we're making, or how good of a car we have, or how good of our living situation is, and I just really want people to know that everyone has their own path to walk, and you shouldn't compare your life to anyone else's, because it doesn't line up like that. Everyone has their own definition of success. Society wants to push its definition of success onto you and think that's what you need to have to be happy, but really success is whatever you define it as and what makes you happy.
I agree. I think that's a wise stance to take, and I think now in this age, this time, we have the capability, the tools that were never available before, that allow us to do these sorts of things. Could you imagine 40 years ago, well, 30, well, whatever, before you were born, of being able to produce and do all of your own music at almost literally very little cost of entry.
It'd be a lot harder to do it back then. I think.
Harder, and and I think this is a message that behooves us to pass on to everyone around us. That hey, no matter what it is you want to do, the tools are out there, and the tools are true. No matter how little money or how little resources you have, there's a way to do it.
Well, you can write a novel if you want.
Exactly.
Well, you did.
I did.
Yes.
Remy Moore asks, what are your thoughts on joining a record label? Is that something you might do, or do you just want to remain independent?
It would depend on what the offer was and when it was made to me, because the main reason I feel that nowadays in the music industry, the main incentive that an artist has to sign with a record label is for promotion and making those connections. So if you already established a good fan base, you're already making a living off your music, which I'm not doing it, but that's the goal. If you're already making a living off your music and have an established following, and you're growing consistently, you really have no reason to sign away rights to your music or anything, or distribution rights to a record label. You really just got to be shooting yourself in the foot for a significant amount of time doing that. But if you're a newer, starting out artist like myself, and you're really just trying to get out there and make money off your music and reach people, then signing a record deal can make a lot of connections for you. It'll help you with promotion, take a lot of the workload off of yourself, and it can do a lot of good things for you. So if I was offered one now or anytime soon, I would absolutely take it. But say 5 or more years down the line, if I already I've already done everything myself that a record label could do for me, I would really have no reason to do it.
Well, sure.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense.
Your independence.
And besides, that was the point I was going to make. Besides, even if you sign now, it's not forever. It might be for 5 years or something.
That's what I was saying. It depends on what the offer was.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever give you a lifetime contract.
I would hope no one would agree to that, because that's indentured servitude right there.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
Let's see what Wonder Music says. A perfect life, perfect eternal dimension. I don't ask from life a high standard. Yeah. Scrumptious Model Train says, compare yourself only to yourself of yesterday.
I like that. I like that quote.
That's a quote from Jordan B. Peterson. So, yeah, that's something to take away there. So, wow, we're getting down to 6 minutes. It's been kind of inspiring, a little bit of enlightening. And this is a sort of the perfect message for on a Sunday, and being a star in our orbit, so to speak,
in our firmament.
The firmament, yeah. Just trying to think of what else to talk about, to ask. Anybody want to jump?
I guess there's one thing that I would like to talk about, and it's a very more recent motivation that I've discovered I have to really get out there with my music and be an artist that can really reach and connect with people. And that's seeing that what the newer generation is really going to be left with for role models in terms of the music industry, because we got all of these SoundCloud rappers, and then they have the Catch Me Outside girl and just really bad influences, I feel like. Whereas the inspirations I had growing up, like Marilyn Manson and Rammstein and everything like that, they're really seem they're going to be really getting on their last legs of appealing to the young adult and teenage audience, and there's going to be this vacuum that's only left with all these really bad influences that the kids and teenagers are going to have to look up to. So I really want to make sure that I'm there, just so especially the outcasts I was as a kid, really have somebody to connect with and that understands them and says the right things instead of just being a bad influence on them and inspiring them to make really bad choices.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Well, and also, I mean, if the landscape is such a desert, right, then it sets it sets things up for something to come out too. So I mean, that was sort of I don't know. I don't want to draw any any conclusions historically. Scrumptious Model Trains just wanted to make clear that he says, "Yeah, I don't agree with all of Jordan Peterson." Is he's that professor that the conservative professor?
I couldn't tell you who he is myself.
No, I wasn't. I think I was asking. I think that's who that maybe he is. That's why he's apologizing. Who is Jordan Peterson? Well, if he is the person I'm thinking of, he is a professor at a Canadian university, I think in Toronto, who. Oh, he's the guy, eh? If you Google Jordan Peterson, you'll get an eyeful. He refuses to use his claim to fame was this thing about refusing to use thee and they as pronouns when he and she. So he doesn't recognize the indeterminate pronoun.
Okay, so I can see why somebody would not want to.
Yeah, there's a whole freedom of speech issue wrapped around that, and and that's certainly a debate I don't want to get into or involve myself with. Because I can see both sides. I really can, and I think that leads to sort of why I've had a lot of trouble in life, is the fact that I can see I can see different sides to things that we're expected to have knee-jerk reactions to, and I think that leads to
well, I mean, it should be
bad outcomes either way.
Broader outlook of things. I mean, things aren't as cut and dried as some people want to have it. It's not all black and white.
I think the fact that
if only it was so
it's
simple.
a long story. I just do not want to. Maybe next week we'll touch on that. Well, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for clarifying that, because no matter what their stance are, I think people can be quoted. Whatever. Let's move on. Wow.
It's like with Sigmund Freud, he had some cool ideas in psychology and stuff, but he also said some stuff that was
right, exactly. And he was, he had that yes. out of time kind of, he was a misogynist at heart, I think, in some respects. Yeah. He could be accused of that. So, this is the sort of thing that we have to, try and smooth our way around, and we can't just say, hey, just because we see that name, we can't say, hey, that's evil. Yeah, the cure for alcohol is cocaine.
You may have a point there.
And actually, I think it is.
It probably is.
I never said that.
Well, it's
don't quote him on that.
Yeah. Yeah, wonder music. Yeah, a snare drum. Yeah, Sigmund did say that. I think he did. Yeah, I think that was one.
And sometimes a cigar is just
I'm
a cigar.
I'm surprised there's any cocaine left after Sigmund Freud got done with it.
Oh, no, I think you're mixing him up with Keith Richards.
No. Sigmund had his own. And on that note, thank you, Remy. Boom.
Say, have
Oh,
you
that's
seen
the one that got him in more trouble than penis envy. Oh, you said pernus envy.
Oh, pernus.
What's a pernus?
I don't know. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, right?
Cigar is just a cigar. What
That's right. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. Have you seen the toaster smiling at the cat lately?
Yeah, you can't say that without having the backstory with that.
I was like, what?
Oh, actually, I'm borrowing this from, or maybe I'm just outright stealing it from, what's their name again? The Pusha Studios.
It's a Nordic,
Xenia,
Latvian saying, you know. So if,
Lithuanian, wasn't it?
Lithuanian,
Wait,
something like that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Riga.
Yeah, if you see
okay.
the toaster smiling at the cat, make sure that there's gas in the car.
Right, it's a nice Russian saying.
Sort of a non-sequitur.
What is that supposed to translate to? What is that supposed to mean?
It's the oddity and bizarreness of life, you know. I think it's like a surreality, you know. It's like the amusement is in the juxtaposition of the contrary context kind of thing.
Well, I always thought it was so funny.
I find it
First time I
hilarious
heard
myself, but you can't see that that's the thing. If without the context of the qualification, it makes no sense, and it just.
Well, I mean, you have to. Well, I think it's because of the whole Soviet Union thing. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
it's like, if you've ever seen that Simpsons episode where Krusty the Clown is showing a cartoon from what is it, East Germany or something like this, and it's like this sort of block
existentialist cat and mouse thing.
Cartoon. Anyway, it's,
I mean, if you came up to me and said the toaster is smiling at the cat, I would either assume like one, a SWAT team was about to bust through my windows,
something like that.
and that brings up like make sure that there's gas in the car. You know,
you gotta get out of here.
Brenda's Bullybug, thank you for joining us. We were just about to bid our adieus. I want to thank Mary Jane Daniels for joining us at today's show.
Very much.
It was a distinct and absolute pleasure to have you as our guest star today. And thank you all for coming. It was a pleasure to have you and interact with you as usual. Please.
Is that a pun because I'm the sun?
Yep. That would be it.
Please join us again next week where we have another exciting, fantastic show. Get in touch with me if you'd like to be a guest on our show, and have a good week.
Yeah, be sure and check out Mary Jane Daniels' music.
Oh, of course.
On his channel there.
It.
It's awesome stuff.
Okay, bye everybody.
So.